Hey everyone, I use the term hungry buyers in the title of this video, but starving buyers might be more accurate for what's happening right now. Market sentiment has shifted in Victoria, and stale listings that have been sitting on the market for months on end are now selling, sometimes even in multiple offers. We'll look at how that will impact buyer and seller behavior going forward and into the new year, and also look how a fire at a new condo building exposed the risk of presale purchases. And finally, how Americans are trying to move to Victoria. December is usually a slow month, but not this time, so let's get into it, and please hit subscribe if you haven't already. By far, the most shocking story this month has been 77 units burning to the ground of a presale condo building in Saanich that was about halfway through construction. This really hits home and exposes how risky and heartbreaking presale purchases can be. I've represented over 50 buyers in the last few years of presales, and quite frankly, I would say about half of those experiences have had some level of unexpected delays or disappointment with the final product. Presales were great back between 2014 and 2019 when you could get ahead of rising prices. Now, you sometimes get the worst of both worlds. High prices and all the risk of not being able to walk through your new home and actually seeing it and feeling it before you pay for it. Presale contracts and the language in them are also heavily weighted towards the developer. So if there is something you don't like about your new home or there's a defect there, you don't have a lot of recourse and you're really at the developer's whim to get that fixed. I still think there's a few good presale buys out there, but tread carefully and really do your due diligence properly, study the floor plan, take a look at what's being built nearby, all the things that the showroom and the nice 3D renderings won't show you. For some people, I think resale is a much safer investment. The builds will have stratum in it. They'll have real world sales history you can look at. You can say, yes, this unit sold in the past. There are desirable factors. It will sell again. And price-wise, sometimes they're even cheaper because there's no GST. It's also rare to see a new development these days with at least a handful of owners immediately reselling their units once it's complete. So maybe that's a better option for you. And maybe that way you can still get the benefits of buying new, all the warranty, all the benefits, but you can avoid the risk and actually walk through that unit. So what's going on in Victoria's market right now? I got an accepted offer on a home yesterday that's been on the market for 90 days with 2 price drops. The interesting part is it went to multiple offers and ended up getting close back to what the original price was when it was first listed. Market sentiment has definitely turned in the last month or so. In fact, sales are up 40% since this time last year. Buyers have been waiting, sellers haven't budged much, and now I think a lot of buyers have a do or die mindset because the general expectation by a lot of people is that things are going to pick up in the new year and they'll pick up in the spring. If we get another rate drop next week, then that'll add further fuel to that idea. Lots of homes that have been sitting on the market for months are being snapped up, in particular detached homes, townhomes, but even some condos are starting to get a bit more traction. I'm not seeing multiple offers on many condos, but they're getting solid accepted offers close to the asking price. It looks like sellers waiting and holding out was the correct move. I think people think it's a safe time to enter the market and that we're past the bottom. Sentiment is everything. If sellers believe the market will improve, they won't look at subject to sale offers or lowball offers at all. And once that happens, buyers lose negotiating power. Once you eliminate those kind of offers, even if the home doesn't sell, they can be more patient, they hold the line and prices stabilize. And then multiple offer situations are sometimes created, which is when we see the big jumps in prices. A byproduct of that is that recent comparable sales can become less meaningful. I'll give you a good example of that just happened in Broadmead. This 1978 home sits on the market for 60 days and ends up selling for $1.1 million in early November. Less than a month later, a similar size house, similar vintage house is listed up the street and it goes in multiples for $1.3 million. Now, there's a lot of factors and variables. I didn't view these houses personally, so I don't know exactly what happened here. I have seen similar patterns, particularly in detached homes, where within 1 month, you can see a big jump in prices just like that. Comparable sales are not as important as market sentiment and future expectations. So my advice here is don't get too caught up on recent sales figures. If in fact the market sentiment is improving, prices can go up a lot faster than they can go down. And there's always going to be stubborn sellers. There's always going to be lots of hungry buyers, but I don't think the converse of that is true. On an interesting side note, since the US election, I've received about a dozen emails and calls from our friends down south wanting to relocate to Victoria. The conversation is usually a short one and ends once they discover we have a foreign buyer ban in effect, but it is interesting to see the direct results of the election in this way. Let me know your thoughts. Will Trump's policies have an impact, if any, on Victoria's real estate market? One way or another, there's going to be changes coming to Canada's economy because of the new American government, either through tariffs, through interest rates, through immigration policy changes. Immigration policies are going to change in Canada over the next few years as well. And as we've learned that immigration and housing usually go hand in hand, I think the new year is a bit of a wild card in what to expect. I want to close on one point, and that is just because we've seen an uptick in activity over the last month, that doesn't mean it's going to be the trend for the new year. It could just be sort of an end of the year cleanup of all these stale listings and all these homes that have been sitting in the market for a while. I know a lot of people, their tenancy situations have changed, so they need to get into a home. So that's sometimes where we see some motivation for buyers coming from. 1 month isn't a trend, but I think this will continue unless we get some really good inventory in the new year. There's a lot of buyers out there. There's not many quality good homes, so we'll have to see what happens. Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. If you're a buyer, are you losing bids? Are you getting accepted offers? What's happening out there? And if you're a seller, what kind of home are you selling and what kind of activity are you seeing on it? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.